am forced into speech because men of science have refused to follow my advice without knowing why. Doubt of the real facts, as I must reveal them, is inevitable. Yet if I suppress what will seem extravagant and incredible, there would be nothing left. It is my terrible duty to amplify this account by filling in the merciful blanks left unsaid, even about that nameless thing.
I am forced into speech because men of science have refused to follow my advice without knowing why. It is altogether against my will that I tell my reasons for opposing this contemplated invasion of the Antarctica and reveal the extravagant and incredible facts I suppressed thus far. As a geologist, my object in leading the Miskatonic University expedition was wholly that of securing deep-level specimens of rock and soil from various parts of the Antarctic continent, aided by that remarkable drill devised by Professor Frank H. Peabody of our engineering department. Professor Lake of the biology department had gone ahead and set a forward camp where he had found some interesting spot to use the drill. He had been sending messages with his findings. But all communication stopped since the beginning of the storm. I was analyzing some rocks we had gathered when the storm hit us at the McMurdo base camp. As of some act of providence, all the messages from Lake had been carried out into the storm, lost forever. I wish now I had left it at that. But we were too worried about Lake and, of course, curious to know more about those unbelievable things he had spoken of in his messages. At 7:15 a.m., January 25th, we started flying northwestward. The atmosphere was clear, fairly quiet and relatively mild in temperature, and we anticipated very little trouble in reaching the latitude and longitude designated by Lake as the site of his camp. Our apprehensions were over what we might find or fail to find at the end of our journey, for silence continued to answer all calls dispatched to the camp. It was young Danforth who drew our notice to the curious regularities of the higher mountain skyline. Regularities like clinging fragments of perfect cubes, which Lake had mentioned in his messages. I felt a wave of uneasy consciousness of archaic mythical resemblances, of how disturbingly this lethal realm corresponded to the evil famed plateau of Lang in the primal writings. It was not a region I would care to be in or near. At the moment, I felt sorry that I had ever read the abhorrent Necronomicon, or talked so much with that unpleasantly erudite folklorist Wilmarth at the university. This mood undoubtedly served to aggravate my reaction to the bizarre mirage, which burst upon us as we drew near the mountains. I had seen dozens of polar mirages during the preceding weeks, but this one had a wholly novel and obscure quality of menacing symbolism. I was glad when the mirage began to break up, though in the process the various nightmare turrets and cones assumed distorted, temporary forms of even vaster hideousness. Without an appropriate surface to land close to the camp, we settled for a small entrance of a cave, one which Lake had messages about and would surely take us to the camp. Danforth stood in the plain next to our long-range radios as I went into the cave, alone, searching for the camp somewhere to the northeast.